The gathering storm. The skies over Metropolis split apart like shattered glass, violet lightning ripping through the blue heavens. People screamed below as the rift widened, glowing with cosmic fire. This wasn't a storm of Earth. It was a wound in reality itself. Superman soared upward, cape blazing red, scanning the rift with eyes like burning suns. His instincts screamed one truth. This wasn't just danger, it was war. Far away in Canada, Wolverine unsheathed his claws with a snick. His mutant senses picked up the change in the air, thick with the metallic stench of alien energy. He growled low, "Something's coming, and bub, it ain't friendly." In New Asgard, thunder split the oceans. Thor raised Mjolnir high, lightning dancing in his eyes. He remembered visions of Ragnarok, the end of all things, but this power felt worse. "The Titan returns," he muttered, "and this time, all realms will burn." The arrival of Thanos. The rift tore wider, and then he came. Thanos, not the broken warlord defeated before. No, this Thanos was younger, more terrifying, his armor darker than obsidian, etched with glowing runes. In his hand wasn't the Infinity Gauntlet, but something far worse. A war blade forged from dying stars, humming with energy strong enough to split dimensions. He stepped onto his floating throne, followed by an army Earth had never seen before. Alien wolves with burning eyes, hulking war beasts fused with machines, and soldiers twisted by alchemy of another universe. This wasn't conquest. This was extermination. His voice thundered across the world. "Gods, mutants, men, the cosmos will kneel." Clash of Titans. Superman shot forward, unflinching, hovering before Thanos. "Earth doesn't kneel," he said coldly. Thanos smirked. "Then Earth dies." The Titan swung his colossal blade. Superman caught it with both hands, shockwaves ripping the skyline apart. Buildings shook, windows exploded, civilians ran in terror. For the first time in years, the Man of Steel felt resistance pressing back, an enemy who could match his strength. Then lightning carved through the clouds. Thor landed with a boom, Mjolnir sparking as it met the Titan's blade. The god of thunder stood tall, his voice booming. "Did you think Midgard faced you alone? You face gods this day, Titan." From the rubble, a growl echoed. "Yeah, and you ain't faced me." Wolverine lunged, claws slashing across Thanos' armor with a screech of metal and fire. Sparks flew as the Titan staggered one step back. Logan spat blood, grinning. "Not so tough, big guy. The war begins." Then chaos erupted. Thanos' army surged forward, alien wolves leaping into the streets, war machines blasting plasma through skyscrapers. Civilians screamed as the city became a battleground of gods and monsters. Superman blurred across the field, smashing through soldiers like a living missile. Thor hurled Mjolnir, vaporizing entire ranks with thunderous explosions. Wolverine tore through beasts with savage fury, his healing factor making him unstoppable no matter how many wounds he took. But for every alien that fell, two more crawled through the rift. The army seemed endless. Thanos only watched, eyes burning with arrogance and patience. He wasn't fighting yet, because this was his trap. Thanos joins the fight. Finally, the Titan moved. His throne dissolved into dust as he strode across the battlefield, Warblade pulsing like the heartbeat of a star. "You are strong," he rumbled, "but strength is nothing against inevitability." He slammed the blade into the ground. The earth cracked open, molten chains of energy bursting upward, binding Superman midair. Clark struggled, heat vision blazing, but the chains only grew stronger, feeding on his power. "Kal-El," Thanos sneered. "God among men, you will kneel like the rest." Thor charged, Mjolnir whistling through the air, but Thanos caught it with one hand and hurled the hammer aside like a toy. The god of thunder flew backward, crashing into rubble. Wolverine leapt again, claws flashing, but Thanos backhanded him into the pavement, leaving a crater where Logan's body hit. Blood sprayed, bones snapped, and yet Wolverine rose again, grinning through the pain. "Gonna take more than that, purple freak." The breaking point. The three heroes regrouped, standing shoulder to shoulder as fire rained around them. Superman strained against the chains, his body glowing red from the energy drain. Thor pulled Mjolnir back to his hand, sparks flying as he summoned a storm to shield the city. Wolverine crouched low, claws dripping, his rage boiling higher. Metropolis lay in ruins. The sky itself was breaking. Civilians prayed, soldiers fell, and the world realized this wasn't just another invasion. This was the beginning of extinction. Thanos raised his blade high, his army roaring behind him. His voice thundered like judgment. This is not your fight to win. This is destiny, and destiny is mine. Superman broke free with a roar. Thor unleashed lightning that split the heavens, and Wolverine lunged with a feral scream. Together, they charged the Mad Titan. The war of gods and mutants had begun. Rise of the unstoppable. The first clash rattled the earth. Superman broke free of the molten chains, exploding upward with the force of a comet. Thor's lightning storm lit up the heavens, turning the battlefield into day. Wolverine's claws tore through Thanos' alien beasts as he roared like a wild animal. For one brief moment, it seemed like hope was alive. The three titans of Earth and beyond were fighting as one. But Thanos was smiling. The Mad Titan caught Superman's fist mid-flight and slammed him into the ground so hard the streets of Metropolis cracked for blocks. The shockwave shattered windows across the city. Before Clark could recover, Thanos swung his warblade down. Superman barely rolled aside as the blade split the earth open like butter. Thor charged next, lightning spinning around Mjolnir. The hammer met the Titan's weapon in an explosion of sparks that blinded the battlefield. Soldiers, wolves, even Wolverine staggered back as the shockwave leveled buildings. "You are brave, Odinson," Thanos growled. "But even your father could not face what I wield." Thor bared his teeth. "Then let us see if you bleed, Titan." He pressed forward, thunder booming with every strike. Lightning wrapped around Thanos, searing his armor, but the Titan only laughed and swung harder. Wolverine's gambit. While gods traded blows, Wolverine went low. He darted under the Titan's guard, claws stabbing upward into Thanos' leg. The blade screeched against alien metal, sparks flying as they bit through armor. Thanos grunted, annoyed but not broken. Logan snarled, "Got plenty more where that came from." Thanos kicked him with such force that Wolverine flew through two collapsing buildings. Bones shattered, lungs collapsed, but within seconds, Logan's body stitched itself back together. He stumbled out of the rubble, bloodied but smiling, claws dripping. "Round two, you purple freak." Superman's fury. Superman blurred back into the fight, rage burning in his eyes. He grabbed Thanos from behind, locking his arms in a crushing hold, and launched him straight into the upper atmosphere. They streaked past clouds, past stratosphere, into the edge of space, where Clark hurled the Titan with a roar. But Thanos twisted in mid-void, the warblade glowing like a newborn sun. He slashed, ripping a gash through the fabric of space itself. Cosmic energy exploded outward, hurling Superman back toward Earth. Clark crashed into the ocean with the force of a meteor, sending tsunamis racing toward coastlines. The world trembled. Thor unleashed. Thor saw the devastation and raised Mjolnir high. Storm clouds thickened, lightning turning the entire sky white. His voice thundered with ancient fury. "By Odin's will and my oath to Midgard, I shall end you here, Titan." He hurled Mjolnir with all his might. The hammer became a lightning storm condensed into a single strike. It smashed into Thanos' chest, cracking his armor and sending the Titan crashing back into the ruins of Metropolis. For the first time, Thanos bled. Thor smirked grimly. So the Titan bleeds, after all. The Titan's true power. But Thanos rose, laughing through the blood. His warblade pulsed brighter, the runes glowing like living fire. He lifted it to the sky, and suddenly the rift above widened. More soldiers poured through, beasts larger than skyscrapers, winged monsters shrieking across the sky, entire warships descending. "This weapon is not forged of stars alone," Thanos declared. "It is forged of destiny itself. Every realm shall fall before it." He slammed the blade into the earth again. A shockwave ripped across the battlefield, toppling towers and blasting Superman and Thor back into the rubble. Wolverine clung to the ground with his claws, every nerve on fire as the world seemed to split beneath him. The Titans' army roared, surrounding the heroes. The heroes regroup. From the ocean, Superman rocketed back into the fight, steam rising from his body as sunlight healed his wounds. He hovered beside Thor, eyes glowing red. "Metropolis won't fall. Earth won't fall," he said, voice steel. Thor lifted Mjolnir, lightning dancing across his armor. "Then we fight until the end of all things." Wolverine limped into place between them, wiping blood from his face. He cracked his neck, claws gleaming. "End of all things, huh? Then let's make sure we go down swinging." The three warriors stood together, back to back, surrounded by an army of thousands and facing the mad Titan himself. And for the first time, Thanos frowned. The counterattack. Superman launched forward like a living missile, heat vision blazing twin beams of destruction. He cut through war machines, through wolves, through ships in the sky, carving a path straight to Thanos. Thor followed, storms exploding around him. Mjolnir crashed into the ground, sending lightning tearing through entire battalions. The sky itself seemed alive, roaring with the god of thunder's fury. Wolverine tore into the beast head-on, carving his way through mountains of flesh and metal. His body was ripped apart, burned, crushed. Yet every time, he rose again, snarling, relentless, unstoppable. Together, they ripped a hole through the Titan's army, forcing their way toward him. Thanos unleashed. But Thanos raised his warblade once more. The weapon split into two, glowing sides that screamed with cosmic energy. "You cannot kill inevitability," Thanos roared. He swung both blades, colliding with Superman and Thor at once. The shockwave detonated like a nuclear blast, leveling miles of the city. Superman was hurled into the sky, Thor smashed into the ruins of a bridge, and Wolverine was crushed beneath falling rubble. The Titan stood tall, his army rallying behind him. "This is not your world anymore. It is mine." But through the smoke and fire, they rose again. Superman, face cut and bleeding, cape torn but still blazing red. Thor, battered but gripping Mjolnir, thunder still at his call. Wolverine, body shredded but healing, claws ready for one more fight. They stood together once more, refusing to fall. Superman pointed upward at the rift, his voice carrying across the battlefield. "If he brings war to Earth, then we bring war to him." Thor nodded grimly. "Then let us take this battle to the stars." Wolverine growled. "Fine, but when we're done, I get the kill." The three legends charged Thanos again, sparks, lightning, and blood filling the sky. And as they clashed once more, the war of gods and mutants burned brighter than ever. Titans collide. The sky over Metropolis was a storm of fire and fury. Alien warships tore through the clouds, blasting the city with beams that turned concrete to molten glass. The streets were rivers of fire, glass, and rubble. And in the center of this chaos, three legends stood as the last line of defense: Superman, Thor, and Wolverine. Thanos had retreated only briefly, regrouping atop a pile of shattered buildings. His warblade glowed like a dying star, pulsing with energy that seemed to devour light itself. Behind him, the rift had widened, pouring more monstrous soldiers, alien beasts, and winged predators into the battlefield. Superman hovered, eyes blazing, scanning the ground for civilians still trapped in the ruins. "We need to hold them back, at all costs," he said, his voice like steel. Thor slammed Mjolnir into the rubble, lightning arcing outward in all directions. "Let them come. For every soldier they send, 100 shall fall." Wolverine's claws flashed in the sunlight as he tore through the nearest alien beast, its howls echoing across the shattered city. "Yeah, but there's a lot of them," he growled, blood and grime streaked across his face. "And they're just getting started. The battle intensifies." Thanos raised his warblade and leapt from his perch, landing with the force of a meteor. Superman intercepted in midair, fists colliding with the blade in a thunderous explosion that shook skyscrapers blocks away. Thor charged alongside, Mjolnir spinning, lightning wrapping around the Titan. Together, Superman shouted. Their combined attacks slammed into Thanos, but the Titan twisted effortlessly, energy from his blade tearing through the combined assault. Sparks, lightning, and shockwaves collided in a massive explosion that sent debris raining down on the city. Wolverine, racing along the ground, leapt onto Thanos' back, claws digging into alien armor. The Titan spun, throwing Logan across a half-collapsed tower. Wolverine landed, yanking his claws free, grinning through bloodied teeth. "Come on, big guy. Is that all you got?" The battlefield was chaos incarnate. Alien soldiers charged, war machines fired, and yet the three heroes refused to falter. Superman flew through waves of enemies, crushing them under his fists. Thor's hammer struck lightning across the sky, each swing leveling entire battalions. Wolverine became a whirlwind of claws and rage, unstoppable and relentless. Thanos' counter. Thanos stopped laughing only long enough to summon a surge of cosmic energy from his blade. The ground beneath the heroes erupted, lava and fire shooting up in massive pillars, threatening to incinerate everything around them. "Your resistance is meaningless," he said, his voice a resonant boom. "I am inevitable." Superman deflected a blast with his heat vision, while Thor countered with a storm so powerful the air itself seemed to scream. Wolverine dodged molten debris, his claws slicing through the fire as if it were nothing. But Thanos' attacks were growing faster, deadlier, more precise. Every strike felt like it was designed to push the heroes to their absolute limit. For the first time, Superman felt sweat trickling down his brow under the pressure of an enemy who matched godly strength with brutal strategy. The turning point. Then a massive alien warship descended, its weapons blazing, aiming directly at the trio. Superman rocketed forward, smashing the ship apart midair with a single, powerful strike. Thor hurled Mjolnir into its engines, causing a chain reaction that vaporized it in a fiery explosion. Wolverine leapt onto the wreckage, claws slicing the remaining soldiers in half with brutal efficiency. The battlefield went silent for a heartbeat before the rift opened wider, revealing something bigger. A shadow eclipsed the sun. A creature taller than any skyscraper, with armor fused to its flesh and eyes glowing red, strode onto the battlefield. Its roar shook the city to its foundations. Superman, Thor, and Wolverine froze for a fraction of a second, recognizing the threat. Even Thanos stepped back slightly, a rare smirk replaced by a frown. "This is only the beginning," Thanos whispered. Heroic resolve. Superman clenched his fists, red light emanating from his eyes. "We faced impossible odds before. This ends here now." Thor slammed Mjolnir into the ground, summoning lightning storms that tore across the battlefield. "By Odin, we shall fight until the last breath. Let the gods and mutants stand united against the mad Titan." Wolverine let out a feral roar, claws glinting in the light of the fires around them. "And if anyone's get in my way, they're dead. Simple as that." The three charged together. Superman rocketed forward. Thor swung Mjolnir in devastating arcs, and Wolverine darted through the battlefield like a blade of pure chaos. Their unity began to push back the tide of alien soldiers, cracking through the monstrous army like a hurricane. Thanos' eyes narrowed. He had underestimated the strength of their unity. But he was not defeated yet. He raised his warblade high, energy flowing faster, brighter, hungrier than ever. The battle escalated beyond imagination. Skyscrapers crumbled, the ground split, alien creatures fell, and the city burned, but the heroes refused to falter. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Metropolis was unrecognizable, a war zone of fire and rubble. The three heroes, bloodied but unbowed, stood before Thanos, the rift behind him still spewing horrors. Superman's voice cut through the chaos, firm and unwavering. "We will not yield. We will not fall. Not today." Thor slammed Mjolnir once more, sending a lightning bolt streaking toward Thanos. Wolverine snarled, claws raised, ready for the final strike. The Titan's smirk faltered just slightly as he realized this fight was far from over, and the legends of Earth were far more formidable than he had imagined. The war of gods and mutants raged on, escalating to heights the universe had never seen before. The cosmic siege. The sky over Metropolis had turned blood red. Smoke and fire spiraled into the clouds, the air thick with ash and the acrid stench of burning steel. The rift above the city pulsed violently, belching wave after wave of alien soldiers, monstrous beasts, and war machines that seemed to defy physics. Superman hovered in the center of the chaos, his cape shredded, his suit scorched and torn, yet his eyes glowed like twin suns. "They just keep coming," he muttered, scanning the endless tide of enemies. "We need to push them back now." Thor landed with a thunderous boom, Mjolnir sparking with raw energy. Lightning arced across the battlefield, striking alien war machines, tearing them apart midair. The god of thunder roared, summoning a storm so violent that even the rift above trembled. Wolverine, bloodied and battered, slashed through a squadron of alien wolves, claws gleaming in the fires around him. "Yeah, and I ain't even started having fun yet," he growled, ripping one beast in half before spinning into another wave. Thanos' escalation. Thanos rose atop the rubble of a collapsed skyscraper, Warblade glowing brighter than ever. He swung it in wide arcs, and the shockwaves obliterated streets, hurled cars like missiles, and sent soldiers flying in every direction. The Titan's laughter boomed like an earthquake. "You believe you can stop me?" Thanos called out. "I'm the end of all things. The universe bends to my will." The alien army surged forward behind him, faster, stronger, and more organized than before. Winged predators sliced through the air, war machines fired devastating beams, and monstrous beasts trampled anything in their path. Superman launched forward, heat vision blazing, vaporizing swaths of soldiers, but for every one he destroyed, two more seemed to appear. Thor swung Mjolnir with unstoppable force, lightning splitting the sky, yet the army pressed on. Wolverine's claws flashed, his rage unyielding, but the numbers were overwhelming. A deadly trap. Suddenly, the ground beneath the three heroes cracked violently. The earth erupted, molten fissures shooting upward, forcing them to leap into the air. Thanos raised his warblade, and energy tendrils shot out in every direction, latching onto the heroes with magnetic force. Superman struggled against the energy, his heat vision slicing at the tendrils, but they regenerated instantly, feeding off his strength. Thor slammed Mjolnir into the ground, lightning striking the tendrils, but they only pulsed brighter, feeding on the storm itself. Wolverine growled, claws slashing frantically as the energy tried to bind him. "This guy, he's playing dirty," he shouted, spinning and cutting through another wave of alien soldiers. Thanos stepped forward, calm, unrelenting. "You are strong," he said, voice a deep rumble. "But strength alone cannot overcome inevitability." Heroes pushed back. Superman broke free with a sudden burst of strength, rocketing into Thanos midair. His fists collided with the warblade in a shockwave that sent debris flying for miles. Thor followed, spinning Mjolnir with a hurricane of lightning, smashing soldiers and alien beasts alike. Wolverine darted through the battlefield like a blur, leaving a trail of shredded armor and blood. Together, the trio carved a path straight to Thanos. Each strike from Superman shook mountains. Every swing of Thor's hammer split the ground. Wolverine's claws bit through armor and flesh with unstoppable precision. Even as the Titan countered, each of their attacks hit harder than before, forcing him to focus on defense for the first time. Catastrophe strikes. But Thanos had one more trick. He slammed his warblade into the ground, and the rift above expanded violently. A massive creature emerged, taller than any skyscraper, armored in living metal, its eyes glowing red, wings spread across the sky like a dark eclipse. Its roar shook the foundations of the planet. Superman, Thor, and Wolverine paused for a fraction of a second, recognizing the new threat. Even Thanos' smirk faltered for just a heartbeat. "You're persistent," he said, "but persistence cannot save you." The creature lunged, crushing soldiers beneath its claws and sending fire raining across the battlefield. Alien beasts scattered, war machines were obliterated instantly, and the city shook with every step of the colossal monster. Counterattack of the Legends. Superman launched at the monster, heat vision burning through its armor. Thor's lightning exploded across its massive wings, striking with the force of 1,000 storms. Wolverine darted in and out, claws biting through tendons and armor alike, leaving the creature roaring in pain. But it was relentless. Every strike was absorbed or shrugged off. Every attack seemed to fuel it, making it stronger. The battlefield became a whirlwind of fire, lightning, claws, and raw power. Explosions erupted in every direction, buildings collapsed, and the air itself seemed to burn. The tide turns. Superman rose above the battlefield, body glowing crimson as he surged toward Thanos. He slammed into the Titan with unstoppable force, shattering the ground beneath them. Thor swung Mjolnir in a mighty arc, lightning and thunder smashing into the Titan, tearing through his armor. Wolverine darted between blows, claws flashing like silver lightning, cutting through soldiers and beasts alike. Thanos faltered, for the first time realizing the true strength of the trio united. The relentless assault of Superman, Thor, and Wolverine began to overwhelm even his godlike power. The city burned around them. The sky roared. The battlefield shook under the weight of gods, mutants, and the mad Titan. The struggle continues. The rift above pulsed violently, still pouring forth endless waves of alien soldiers and beasts. Thanos roared in fury, swinging his warblade, yet the trio pushed forward, unrelenting. Superman's fists cracked armor. Thor's lightning shattered steel. Wolverine's claws tore through flesh and bone. The clash of power and fury lit up the horizon, visible for miles. Civilians watched in awe and terror as Earth's mightiest defenders stood against the embodiment of cosmic destruction. And though the mad Titan fought with terrifying precision, the legends of Earth refused to yield. Each strike, each movement, each roar of battle escalated the war to unimaginable heights. The war of gods and mutants raged on, fiercer than ever, unstoppable and unrelenting.